Story 1. I am convinced I will die in a car accident. Not because I am a bad driver or even drive often, but because I have had many dreams of being in a crash. I am so glad to know I am not alone in this. My heart goes out to those of you who have had close calls or suffer from accident-related anxieties or fears. Story 2. I will be harmed by my cat one day for providing dinner 2 minutes late. Story 3. Something really dumb. I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and I am so clumsy and do not pay attention to certain things. I imagine it is not going to be sad. It is going to be something that makes people pause and scratch their heads for a second. I am not sure exactly what that is, but that is what it is. Story 4. In your arms tonight. It must have been something you said. Story 5. I am going to end my life. Not in a sad way, but on my own terms. Alzheimer's disease and dementia are very common in my family, and I have witnessed it happen several times. It is awful. I absolutely refuse to die without remembering the people I love and the things I have done. I will not let my wife and my friends watch me fade away. When my mind starts to decline, I will end it. I am going to die as myself. Story 6. I do not know how I think I will die, but I believe if I make it past my 30s, I will live to 83. Story 7. Mishandling demolition equipment while attempting to kill a bird. Story 8. Eliminated by a group associated with the Church of Scientology after Xenu returns and pursues those who do not believe. Story 9. Rolling off a cliff in a wheelchair with a smile on my face. Family history of dementia. I am not inflicting that slow death on my wife and children. Story 10. Organ failure. I have already experienced multiple organ failure once and ended up needing a transplant, so I am fairly certain that at some point this one may fail, and I might not receive another one. I hope I am wrong. Multiple organ failure is a very frightening and painful way to die, especially if you, like me, have a bad reaction to most opioids. Story 11. Broken heart if old age does not get me first. If my husband dies, I do not think I could go on. I am a hopeless romantic who found their soulmate. Story 12. I don't like to think about that. All I can say is I hope I go quietly in my sleep after living a fulfilling life. Story 13. This thread is breaking my heart. If anyone needs to talk to someone, my inbox is open. Coming from an often suicidally depressed middle-aged mom who is neurodivergent and a safe space. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone who does not know you in real life. To answer the question, probably something liver-related. I was diagnosed with autoimmune hepatitis in January. Story 14. I will most likely be tripped by one of my Labrador retrievers and fall down the stairs. Story 15. Petting something that is friend-shaped when in fact it is not a friend. Story 16. In a fight with an escaped gorilla, I started the fight while families were present. Story 17. I am going to be walking down the street under a mini crane hoisting a grand piano. I will watch them safely lift the piano into my penthouse apartment. As soon as I give the crane operator a thumbs up, I will be shot 26 times with a Tommy gun. My killer will be an old man named Chip Whittley. He will claim he thought I was someone else, but make no mistake, this will be a targeted hit. I will go out like a warrior, but I will soil myself and take 40 minutes to fully die. During that time, I will yell profanities at onlookers and will not hold back. Story 18. Holding off a superior force while my loved ones escape into the mountains. Just man stuff. Story 19. By tornado. I have dreamed about those things constantly since I was a child. They are coming for me. Story 20. Alone on a long walk in the woods. Once I get to the point where I cannot take care of myself, I am calling it there, grabbing my .45, sending whatever family I have left a set of coordinates where the authorities can find my body. Then I will be cremated and buried with a freshly planted tree with a view of Lake Michigan. Story 21. Firefighter here. It is definitely cancer or a heart attack based on statistics. Story 22. Honestly, I am too scared to answer because I believe you can speak things into existence. Story 23. I will be 103 years old hacking through South American jungles searching for ancient ruins. Story 24. In driver's education, They told us it is usually safer to hit small animals than to swerve off the road or into traffic. As soon as I heard that, I knew I would die because I did not want to kill a raccoon or something. Story 25. Screaming at the top of my lungs. This is absolutely awesome. Story 26. Suicide. But dying by fighting a bear sounds pretty intense. Story 27. I am probably going to die of brain cancer in the next 8 years or so. If you are a veteran, get your brain checked. Burn pits are covered by the Honoring Our Pact Act, and you can get treatment covered. I am glad I did because now I will probably outlive my sweet dog. So she will not be left alone without me in this world. I am taking her ashes with me to the grave. Story 28. By my own hands. I do not want a disease to take me or an accident or someone else before me. I want my death to be my choice by my own hands. Story 29. I have had a fear of the ocean since I was young, and I quietly believe that fear is foreshadowing how I will die. Maybe that fear is me predicting my death in a way. Maybe I am crazy, but we will see. Story 30. A bolt of lightning strikes my guitar as I am performing an amazing solo on stage, captivating both myself and the audience. I just have to learn to play the guitar and become famous first. Story 31. Not really sure. With any luck, I will not be there when it happens. Story 32. This is my 4th blood clot this year. This one has reached my lungs. I also have coronavirus disease. I do not think I have much left in me, to be honest. Story 33. Cancer in my 60s or peacefully in my sleep in my 90s. There is a pattern in my family that is way too uncomfortably consistent. Story 34. If I have anything to say about it, it will be a remote beach, my favorite place within a national park. I will wait until the quality of life completely declines and go to a certain place on this wilderness beach with a family album, a fifth of excellent vodka, some of my lifelong favorite music, and a pill that will finish me off when I am ready. Story 35. I'd like to die riding my horse, preferably years from now, with my children grown and my husband possibly deceased. I want to take my favorite horse into our favorite field and ride as if tomorrow does not exist. I would die with my heart full and a smile on my face. It has always been my dream since I was 9 and took my first pony to a big open field. Story 36. My mouth is most likely going to get me killed one day. I have known this since I was 8. A guy burped in my face on purpose, and I said, "Excuse you," with an attitude. He turned around and threatened me with a knife. This is not the only time my mouth has gotten me in trouble. There are certain countries I cannot visit because I cannot keep quiet. It is what it is, and if that is how I die, I am okay with it. Story 37. Suicide, probably by medication. I am not looking forward to old age, and if I am diagnosed with anything like dementia, I will be taking a long walk. Story 38. Shot in the back at 96 by my 22-year-old girlfriend's jealous husband. Story 39. Living in the United States, statistics indicate a heart attack or some form of heart disease. Story 40. Hopefully slowly. I want to look death in the face before it gets me, also hopefully with someone I love. I want to show people that it is okay to look at death and to see that it must be. I heard about how Lou Reed died today. That would be nice. Story 41. I will probably get terminal cancer and finally try heroin until I die. Story 42. It has been nice knowing you all, even though I have just read your comments. Story 43. Hopefully in my bed surrounded by loved ones when I am ready to go. Story 44. I have to drive 210 miles every other weekend to pick up my children. I am positive a semi-truck is going to hit me somewhere along the way. I just hope my children are not in the car if it happens. Story 45. Ramming my fighter jet into the Armageddon cannon of an alien mothership as it prepares to destroy a city, while screaming into the radio communications, "Honey, I'm home." 90s sitcom style, baby. Story 46. Tragically rescuing my family from the wreckage of a destroyed sinking battleship. Most of my family lived into their late 80s and mid-90s. I met 4 of my great-grandparents and have pictures with them. If I can avoid some problems, I hope to meet my grandchildren and great-grandchildren without outliving a single descendant. Story 47. My heart will fail me. I have already experienced a few failures, and I believe that will be the way forward. Story 48. I would like to die from a massive drug-fueled, sex-induced aneurysm with Tessa Fowler. I will probably die from a stroke-induced accident. Story 49. I am 34 years old and consume approximately 10 alcoholic drinks 5 days a week. I vape constantly when I am sober and smoke cigarettes continuously when I am drinking. If it is not liver failure or lung cancer, a woman will kill me. Story 50. I have had several close calls going downstairs. I also have a history of bowel obstructions, one of which almost killed me. It is 50-50. I hope it is the stairs and that I break my neck and die quickly rather than suffer the torture of another obstruction. Story 51. I firmly believe that I am going to take my own life. Not yet, I am fine, but it will happen. Story 52. As slow and as excruciating as possible. Most likely, a deer will somehow be involved. They are everywhere. Story 53. Cancer is the most likely diagnosis. I do not have the healthiest lifestyle. Story 54. A heart attack caused by my caffeine addiction or a horrific accident. Story 55. I was playing a mountain climbing game in virtual reality once. I started watching a butterfly and got distracted. I did not realize I did not have both of my hands gripped. I fell to my death. I suspect my real-life death will be dealt to me in a similar way. Story 56. Probably some stomach cancer or something. Hopefully, I die before life gets too painful. I want to die with my wife at an old age, painlessly. Story 57. Honestly, I find myself being quietly terrified of the prospect of World War III, which is weird because I am from New Zealand. Story 58. According to the previous post in my Reddit feed, it is going to be a mosquito bite. Story 59. From a zombie attack since I cannot even walk fast with my cane. Story 60. According to common opportunities and reality for many of us, I will die of overwork due to cost cutting. Simple logic applies. If you are one of those master of business administration geniuses who tries to solve everything this way, I strongly disagree. Story 61. Probably in a very avoidable way. For example, I might be prescribed blood thinners, then bump my head too hard and develop a brain aneurysm. Story 62. Probably by petting a wild animal that I should not pet. Story 63. I am feeling very distressed and overwhelmed. If things do not improve soon, I am concerned about my well-being. Story 64. Somehow, I will be the one person killed in a blimp accident every year. Story 65. Falling down my driveway while weakened from colorectal cancer treatment. I have a very steep driveway. Story 66. Ideally very old, in my bed snoozing. I've had a recurring dream since I was a child that a man is chasing me and the mud won't let me run. Hopefully not that way. As others have said, in the best case scenario, on my own terms at my own time. Story 67. The same way I came into this world. Bald, screaming, and urinating all over the nurse. Story 68. I'll probably end up being taken out by either my physical or mental illnesses. I have many health issues, and old age will not mix well with them. If they don't kill me first, the depression will likely win. Holding on out of spite for now, though. Story 69. I am going to get hit by a person reading their phone while driving as I ride my bicycle. Story 70. In a huge ball of fire and twisted metal, I fly off the road at 152 miles per hour in my Ford Mustang GT with my foot still hard on the gas pedal, attempting to negotiate a twisting road while running late on my way to work. It is going to be absolutely beautiful. Story 71. In the words of Tyrion Lannister, in my own bed at the age of 80, with a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around me. Story 72. Before my 2-year-old was born, I hiked a lot alone, and I always considered the possibility of dying from a fall off a cliff. Today, if everything holds, I will most likely die from a heart attack or cancer. If my wife dies before me and my child becomes a grown man, then falling from a cliff remains a possibility. Story 73. I think I will die peacefully in my sleep, not screaming in terror like the passengers in the back. Story 74. One hopes killed by space rock. More than likely car accident due to someone's poor driving. Story 75. Heart attack brought on by rage from the hiccups. Story 76. I do not plan on it, to be honest. I am trying to get healthy so I can ride the technological singularity into immortality. Ask again in 966 years. Story 77. I am 55 years old, obese, and a smoker. I am at risk of a heart attack in the future. Story 78. In bed. Wait for it. In Las Vegas, after sex with 6 sex workers. Story 79. Gasping for air. I have had a double lung transplant, which will inevitably be rejected or infected. I already know what it feels like to not be able to breathe properly from when I was waiting for my transplant, so I do not have any illusions about what is in store. Story 80. Snowmobile accident. Once I am too old to safely ride but too stubborn to accept it and give it up. Story 81. I want to die peacefully in my sleep, like my grandfather, not like the passengers who died screaming. Story 82. If I am honest, probably suicide. I am doing fine now, but I live with long-term depression that flares up from time to time. I have no doubt that one day an episode will be bad enough and coincide with other events in my life when I am low, that it will happen. Story 83. I just want to die in my sleep like my grandfather, not screaming in terror like the passengers in his car. Story 84. Massive heroin overdose. Self-administered and entirely planned. Drift away on a cloud. Never used heroin before, so tolerance very low. It will be my ultimate way out. Story 85. I've already planned my exit. This is how it will go down. I'm in my 30s, female. I have been told I will probably live well into my 90s. I am exactly 5 feet tall, meaning that I am very short and very petite. That last part will be relevant later. During my 60th year of life, I will purchase a sword cane, which is a walking cane with a sword inside. I will live my life, being as old and cantankerous as I want. Unfortunately, partway through my cantankerous years, some thief will see my 5-foot ancient frame and decide I am an easy target for a mugging. They will be very wrong. Picture this. The thief comes at me and grabs my purse. An old lady with a cane, an easy job, right? We struggle, and he is surprised that I am putting up a fight. Then I pull my sword out of my cane. For a moment, he probably will not be able to process what he is seeing. But by the time he understands, my sword will be in his ribcage. He has a gun and uses it, but it is too late. He shoots me in the chest. I go down. The last thing I see before my end is the surprised face of the thief in disbelief that he was taken down by a 90-year-old woman with a sword in her cane. He will be the last thing I see, and I will be the last thing he sees. Except I will be expecting this, and he will not. This is how I go, and it will be perfect. Story 86. Probably out of fear or because I live in a rough neighborhood. I am worried about being harmed by my upstairs neighbor who says she cannot wait to catch me outside and insults me day and night. However, I kind of hope I die in my wife's arms after experiencing great happiness. Story 87. I want to believe that I will die of natural causes at the ripe old age of 92. I am hoping to go peacefully in my sleep. Story 88. With a belly full of wine and a woman's mouth around my penis. Story 89. Strike me down, you coward. Basically saying to God, you won't do it, no courage. Story 90. Either cancer or being hit by a car. I work for a public works department, and the number of times people speed past me in a work zone while using their phones would shock you. Story 91. Heart failure. I have aortic stenosis. At some point, the aortic valve in my heart will either need to be replaced or it will fail. Even if it is replaced, it only extends my life for a certain number of years. I already have an uncle and a sister who passed away due to heart problems, both of them on my birthday, my sister this year and my uncle last year. Story 92. Heartbreak. I feel like when someone so close to me dies, I would die too because my heart would not be able to take it. Story 93. Making poor life choices at age 85, currently 45. Story 94. Heart attack on the golf course with a 9-iron in hand. Left myself a nice birdie opportunity though. Story 95. I am going to have a heart attack for some reason when I am out on a 10 or 15-mile run at age 60. Story 96. At some point, my heart will stop beating, just like everyone else. Story 97. Crohn's disease is incurable and flares up every few years. The flares are very severe. I can manage it now, but in 60 or 70 years, my body will naturally deteriorate with age. Eventually, I will probably succumb to the illness if I do not develop cancer or heart disease first. Story 98. I have been shot twice, so I guess eventually my luck will run out. Story 99. I try not to think about dying too much, but I have been smoking since I was 13. If I had to guess, I would probably say from complications due to my smoking. Story 100. I am going to finally decide to take a long motorcycle trip, go through a tight turn, and fly off the side of a mountain. I will die because there were exactly 3 pieces of gravel in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Story 101. Odds are on colorectal cancer. Both my paternal grandparents died of it. Story 102. For years, I could have sworn that I was going to be shot at 43. I do not know why, but it is a feeling I have always had. Story 103. Probably heart disease or cancer of some sort. It runs in my family. I already have premature ventricular contractions, premature atrial contractions, and non-sustained ventricular tachycardia, so I will lean towards heart disease. Sigh. Story 104. Heart attack. I have used cocaine, marijuana, and MDMA for the last 15 years. I am fully functioning and I am a boss in my workplace. For those who do not know me, they would never suspect it. I am 32 years old and I am often told I look like I am in my early to mid-20s. I attribute this to good genetics and nothing more. I do yearly tests and they always come back normal, but I really do not know how since I do not take care of myself. I did not think I would live this long, to be honest. Story 105. There is a high chance I will inherit Alzheimer's disease. If I do, I hope that I have the sense to end my own life at the appropriate time. Therefore, I plan to use pills, alcohol, and a running car in the garage. I do not want to become a confused, frightened, angry burden like many people do with this awful disease. Story 106. Hopefully doing outdoor activities on the property somewhere. We have big dreams over here. Story 107. Hopefully not on the operating table tomorrow. Laugh out loud. Probably dementia and old age though, but then again, if I keep living and consuming the lifestyle I have at the moment, probably heart attack. Story 108. I seem to be on the path of dying old in a hospital bed, maybe even surrounded by loved ones. If you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have said overdose. Story 109. I have a recurring nightmare of being strangled and a strong feeling that this is how I will die. Hopefully, I am wrong, but I cannot help feeling that this is how it will end for me. Story 110. Probably while trying to multitask, like eating pizza and watching a movie at the same time. Story 111. I hope euthanasia is legalized where I live because I would like to opt out at 87, but I think it will be cancer. Story 112. Cancer probably. I have already had it twice. I have Lynch syndrome, which is a hereditary cancer gene. It runs strongly in my family. The cancers can grow within months despite yearly tests. Story 113. I have been suffering from chronic pain for almost 40 years. I am so weary. I used to be an extreme extrovert, but now I rarely leave my house and no one ever visits. I will take myself out with my pain pills before the loneliness kills me. Story 114. Likely from some kind of disease I did not get it checked sooner. Story 115. I'm going to a final destination death. One of the big pipes will break loose from a load and impale me, or the blades will break off a wind turbine and chase me down the highway. True story. A chunk of ice flew off a truck and shattered my windshield at midnight in the middle of winter, going 75 miles per hour on the interstate. I had to drive about 30 miles with my window down and my face, head, and lap full of glass. Story 116. Driving 200 kilometers per hour in a truck loaded with explosives near a volcano. Playing Thunderstruck on my guitar in my final moments. Story 117. Surrounded by beautiful men and women and my several illegitimate children, I make last-minute amendments to my will and testament to cause wanton chaos. Story 118. At the age of 80, with a belly full of wine and a girl's lips around me. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.